to another exciting episode of Gibbon Travelogue. I'm Lillian.
And I'm Gilbert.
And today we are in
Suzhou. And this video is about Suzhou cuisine, which is part of the Jiangnan cuisine. Today we are going to explore quite a few restaurants. Are you ready, Lillian?
I can't wait to eat. I love to eat.
Okay, let's go. This way.
Suzhou is famous for its classical gardens, canals, and ancient streets. But beyond the beautiful scenery, this city is also a paradise for food lovers. From traditional Suzhou noodles to crispy pan-fried buns and old-school street food, we spend our trip eating our way through some of the city's most iconic local dishes. So, in this video, we are sharing 10 amazing places to eat in Suzhou that you absolutely shouldn't miss. We start our food journey with one of Suzhou's most famous noodle restaurants, Yuxing. Yes, when it comes to Suzhou noodles, Yuxing is the city's true legend. Founded during the Qing dynasty in the Qianlong era, this Lao Zihao noodle house has been serving Suzhou-style noodles for generations. Many locals consider it one of the best places in Suzhou to experience traditional 苏式面 or Suzhou-style noodles. The restaurant is especially famous for bringing back classic noodle dishes that had disappeared for decades, including specialties like 三下面 and 兔黄油面. But the most famous dish here is definitely the crab roll noodles, 蟹黄面. The noodles are coated in rich golden crab roll and fragrant crab oil, creating an incredibly luxurious flavor and springy and satisfying to eat. We also order their 小笼包, 苏式小笼包, which are thin-skinned and packed with hot soup inside.
Very hot. Got the sweetness from the crab roll. Nice.
One of the signature dishes at Yuxing is a famous 三下面, a seasonal Suzhou delicacy. 3 streams refer to the stream meat, stream roll, and stream paste used in the dish, all carefully prepared by hand. Because of the labor-intensive preparation and seasonal ingredients, authentic 三下面 is considered one of the most premium noodle dishes in Suzhou. If you are visiting Suzhou and want to experience authentic local noodles with real history behind them, Yuxing is definitely a place you shouldn't miss. Next place that we recommend is in one of the most famous streets in Suzhou, Santang Street or Qili Santang, with its stone bridges, flowing canals, and traditional Jiangnan architecture. This area feels almost like stepping into an ancient town. And right here in the heart of Santang Street is one of Suzhou's most legendary restaurants, Songhe. Founded in 1787, also during the reign of Emperor Qianlong in the Qing dynasty, Songhe has a history of more than 270 years. What started as a humble noodle shop eventually became one of the greatest symbols of Suzhou and Jiangnan cuisine. The restaurant is so famous that legendary martial arts novelist Jing Yong even mentioned Songhe multiple times in his novel Tianlong Babu. The most famous dish here is the legendary Songshu Guiyu, or squirrel-shaped Mandarin fish. This iconic Suzhou dish was invented right here at Songhe more than 200 years ago. The moment it arrives at our table, we understand why almost every table orders it. The outside is crispy, while the fish inside remains incredibly tender and delicate. And honestly, eating this dish here in Suzhou feels like ticking off a major food bucket list item.
Fresh, very nice.
The pork belly with sweet potatoes, 地瓜红烧肉, is another standout. We also try braised pork belly with bamboo shoots, 变肚鲜, a comforting soup made with bamboo shoots, pork, and cured meat slowly simmered together. And finally, we have the shrimp roll soy sauce noodles, 虾仔酱油拌面, a classic Suzhou-style mixed noodle dish. The noodles are tossed in fragrant soy sauce and shrimp roll, creating a dish that looks simple but is packed with umami and flavor. Songhe is not the cheapest restaurant in Suzhou, but for the history, atmosphere, and the opportunity to experience authentic Suzhou cuisine in one of the city's most iconic old establishments, it is absolutely worth it. Next on the list is Suzhou太太苏帮菜 苏面源面宴, near the humble administrator's garden. The restaurant hopes to showcase the elegance and cultural heritage of Suzhou through both the interior design and the food. The restaurant is extremely popular, and by lunchtime, the place is absolutely packed with diners. Adding to the experience, there is even a live kunqu performance while guests are dining. Kunqu Opera is one of the oldest forms of Chinese opera and is considered a cultural treasure of Suzhou and the Jiangnan region. For lunch here, we order a wonderful spread of classic Suzhou dishes that perfectly showcase the flavors of Jiangnan cuisine. One of the highlights is the Suzhou 一号最大虾. The prawns are incredibly fresh and full of flavor, marinated in traditional Chinese wine that gives them a rich, aromatic fragrance. We also order the famous 狮子头. The meatball is huge, soft, and incredibly tender, almost melting apart with every bite. Another classic local dish is 银鱼炒蛋, scrambled eggs with tiny silverfish from the nearby Taihu Lake. And of course, we cannot live without trying the 蟹王小笼包. Each delicate dumpling is filled with rich crab roll and hot savory soup inside. Together, these dishes perfectly capture the slightly rich and elegant character that Suzhou cuisine is famous for. Our next interesting place to eat is something much more hearty and intense. We head to 二月包 near Guanqian Street, one of the busiest shopping and food districts in Suzhou. 二月包 is a large 3-story Jiangnan-style restaurant that is especially famous for its Claypot dishes. We order their signature 二月 pig trotter stew, 二月猪蹄包. The braised pork trotter arrives bubbling hot in a clay pot, coated in a rich duck sauce that Jiangnan cuisine is famous for. The pork is incredibly tender, gelatinous, and packed with flavor, but surprisingly not too greasy. This is definitely a must-order dish.
And your specialty is a pig trotter. Normally I don't eat pig trotter because it's very fat, but this one looks very good, and I'm going to try tasting it for the first time. Very juicy. Good stuff.
We also tried the 3 delicacy hot pot, 杭式三鲜包. Another dish we order is the double mushroom gluten casserole, 双菇面蒸包, featuring mushrooms and tau pok slowly simmered in sauce. For something refreshing, we get the crispy cucumber dish, 脆皮黄瓜. The combination of bubbling clay pots and rich aromas make our dinner here feels like the ultimate comfort food experience in Suzhou. The next interesting place to eat is especially good for breakfast. We head deep into one of Suzhou's most local neighbourhood, the famous Cai market area. Just outside the busy food court and market, we find one of Suzhou's most famous Shengjian brands, 鑫震源. Originally known simply as 震源生煎, the brand first started right here in Caixiang Yichun back in the 1990s before expanding across Suzhou. Early in the morning, the store is already packed with people grabbing breakfast before work. The sound of sizzling pans and steaming baskets creates this amazing old-school Suzhou breakfast atmosphere. And then we finally see the 大虾生煎 being cooked fresh right in front of us. Rows and rows of buns slowly frying on giant flat pans until the bottoms turn beautifully golden and crispy. Inside, the filling is made with juicy pork and gelatin stock that melts into soup as the buns cook. At 鑫震源, the flavors are unmistakably Suzhou in style, slightly sweeter, lighter and more delicate compared to the heavier northern Chinese flavors. We also tried the little wonton, 虾肉小云吞, and 鲜肉小笼. The place feels authentic, lively, and pretty different from the vibes of the city centre. Next recommended restaurant is Deyue Lou at Jinji, one of Suzhou's most famous and historic restaurants. Founded during the Ming Dynasty over 400 years ago, Deyue Lou is considered one of the true icons of Suzhou cuisine. Once again, legend says that when Emperor Qianlong travelled through Jiangnan, he dined here and was so impressed by the food that he gave the restaurant the title, the finest restaurant under heaven. Looks like this emperor is pretty much a foodie, as many of us. The branch we visit is located along the Gongti by the beautiful Jinji Lake. The restaurant is built beside the lake, combining traditional Suzhou architecture with scenic waterfront views. Sitting by the window, we can see the calm water of Jinji Lake and the gentle willow trees. And in the distance, the modern skyline of Suzhou Industrial Park. Deyue Lou specializes in traditional Su Bang Cai with a strong focus on seasonal ingredients and refined presentation. We order several classic Suzhou dishes. One of the highlights is the xie fen tofu. Silky soft tofu is covered in rich crab roll sauce. We also try the xiangsu wu ya, a beautifully crispy duck dish. Another surprisingly delicious dish is Jing Cai Xian Yu Cao Fan. And finally, we order the tofu xia juan. Together, these dishes perfectly reflect the refined and balanced flavors of Suzhou cuisine. Next is a local noodle shop not far from a hotel, 老横泾面馆. Sometimes these neighbourhood restaurants end up becoming one of the most memorable meals of the trip. No fancy decor, just comforting food served to the local folks. The atmosphere here feels very authentic and down to earth. We ordered several classic Suzhou noodle dishes to try.
So I ordered the dry ones. It's damn sure.
Next, we have one of Suzhou's most beloved breakfast eateries. We head to哑巴生煎near Guanqian Street.哑巴生煎is so popular that it is consistently ranked among the top local snack spots in Suzhou. And the moment we walk in, we immediately understand why. The restaurant is absolutely packed with people. If you don't come early enough for breakfast, finding a seat can be a real challenge. The restaurant actually operates very efficiently despite the crowds. First you order and pay at the counter, then queue separately at the pickup window to collect your food. Ta Guan Lo was the original restaurant name started by the grandmother's generation. Later, her deaf-mute son took over the business. The restaurant became known as Yaba Shengjian. The current owner is already the third generation, continuing the family business. The main reason everybody comes here is for the signature Shengjian Bao. These pan-fried buns arrive piping hot with beautifully crispy golden bottoms. The pork filling itself is incredibly tender and flavorful.
Very crispy. I like the pork.
We also ordered the famous beef vermicelli soup, 牛肉粉丝汤, another signature item here. The broth is light and comforting, making it the perfect pairing with the rich pan-fried buns. Watching the chefs work is also part of the experience. The staff wrap and cook the buns incredibly quickly. When it comes to Suzhou street food, Yaba Shengjian might just be our favourite stop of the entire trip. At number 9 is another one of Suzhou's most famous Shengjian and noodle shop. While exploring Guanqian Street, we stopped by朱华迪苏式生煎for another round of classic Suzhou comfort food. This place is known not just for its pan-fried buns, but also for the traditional Suzhou noodles and local snacks. We have to try the 苏式蟹黄面. The noodles are coated in rich golden crab roe and fragrant crab oil, creating an incredibly savoury flavour. We also ordered the 大排面, a much more comforting everyday local dish. Another highlight is the 招牌三品生煎. This platter let us try 3 different styles of their signature pan-fried buns in one order. At number 10 is a cafe stop by Jinji Lake. Suzhou is a stylish cafe restaurant located along the beautiful lakeside area. The atmosphere here feels completely different from the old streets and traditional restaurants of Suzhou's ancient city. Jinji Lake represents the modern side of Suzhou, with trendy cafes and a skyline that almost feel futuristic compared to the classical gardens and canals we have been exploring. The cafe has a very elegant and contemporary design. What makes this place especially enjoyable is a view outside. We order coffee and desserts and take the chance to slow down a little after all the non-stop eating and sightseeing. Sitting here with coffee while looking out towards Jinji Lake creates a completely different side of the Suzhou experience. Finally, we have a bonus for you, the彩香蛋饼at 彩香一村. One of the hottest stalls at the 彩香一村 food market is not noodles or dumplings, but something simpler, the legendary 彩香蛋饼. This humble egg pancake has become one of the most iconic breakfast food in the area, and there's almost always a queue forming in front of the stall. The moment we arrive, we can already smell the aroma of eggs, batter, sauce, and crispy dough cooking on the hot griddle. Okay, we have just bought this 彩香蛋饼. One piece and then cut into two. Okay, let's try. Okay, what's inside there first?
Youtiao and egg.
The egg is actually the wrapper lah. Then there's a youtiao and then got some 肉丝. Don't have ah. Very nice. 大众点评 is in the 必吃 in 2025. So this is definitely worth a try when you come here.
Suzhou may be famous for its gardens and canals, but its food scene deserves just as much attention, from traditional noodle houses and historic restaurants to humble street food stalls and modern cafes. Every meal tells a different story about the city. We hope this video gives you some inspiration for your own food adventure in Suzhou.
The mochi-like thing. Okay, that's all, folks.
Hope you enjoyed this video of our food tour in Suzhou. If you do, don't forget to give us a like, leave a comment for us, and subscribe to
Gibbon Travelogue.
Until our next video, we'll see you again. Bye! 再见!